Hey everybody, welcome back to She's All Business for another reflection episode. This is our second reflection episode that I at least recorded at this point. Um, but we are going to reflect on last week's episode, Sarah's All Business, and just kind of talk about that experience and how I know Sarah. But before we get into all of that, I just want to talk to you guys about my week, about what's going on in my life. I am almost on Christmas break, which is really exciting. I feel like I've been doing so much work nonstop. And Christmas break will be no different, except that I'm not going to physically be at school. I'm going to be doing some online classes. So I'm taking 2 online classes with like a local community college back home just to get some of my liberal arts credits out of the way. But I'm at least going to be done with in-person school. I'll have a little bit of a break. I do like marketing for the volleyball team here at school and I like plan events. So I'll do a little bit of planning over winter break, but I'm not like as intensively working on things, which will be a nice break. And then I get to focus a little bit more on my podcast. And yeah, and I might go back to working over break. Who knows what I'm going to do? I'm not there yet, so we'll figure it out. But I'm excited for a little bit of relaxation. So yeah, that's basically my plans. So I want to get into the episode from last week about Sarah Leff. I was so grateful to have her on the show. She's just like such a phenomenal businesswoman, and I'm so grateful that I was able to meet her. Just like respect her so much. I was so nervous. I always get nervous before I start filming episodes for a podcast, especially with a guest. I don't have stage fright or anything, but so when Sarah came, I was so nervous. Like, I just like couldn't help it. Like my brain was saying like, it's fine, you know her, it's comfortable. But the rest of my body was not listening to my brain. So I was just like shaking and, all the nervous tics that you can get. But I think I was really nervous with her because I respect her so much. She's an extremely busy woman and I just have the utmost respect for her. But to kind of go back in time just a little bit, September of 2023, I met Sarah for the first time and her co-founder and CEO, Jonathan Cohen. I did an internship with a celebrity stylist, which I've talked about a little bit. The celebrity stylist that I interned for shares an office with Sarah and Jonathan. I didn't know the relationship, like if there was a relationship between both of them or they just shared the space. So I introduced myself. I wanted to make a good impression. Every assistant on the celebrity stylist side, which I interned for, and then obviously Jonathan and Sarah, which are on the designer brand side, were friends and talked, and it was like you got stuff done, but there was this sense of like friendship and camaraderie within the office. I caught on to that vibe very quickly, and even though I was working for somebody else, I still interacted with Sarah and Jonathan quite often. I didn't really get to work with them per se, but they got to see me work and like my work ethic. Sarah and Jonathan asked me if I'd be interested in interning for them. And I remember when they asked me, I kind of like laughed because the way they said it, I thought they were joking because I know nothing about design. Like I am not in that realm at all. Even though now my major has something to do with design, like I wasn't doing anything super creative. But then they like kind of looked at me seriously and I was like, oh, of course, like I would love to. And they like told me about it and they were like, you just had a great work ethic and like, enjoyed having you around. And I just feel like you'd be, the office well, and I think you'd be good if we brought you back for the February 2024 presentation they were putting on. So I fully ended up pursuing, I think it was like a 2 to 3 week span with Jonathan and Sarah. But it was a phenomenal experience. And I found that experience, I learned so much about Jonathan and Sarah. I gained even more respect for the two of them. If I have to recommend anybody to intern if they're interested in design, I would always point them towards Jonathan and Sarah because of the way that they treat their interns. It is so positive. They are so kind. And if you tell them that you want to learn this, they will help you learn that, you know. And they're also always there to give guidance and advice. Sarah even took time out of her busy life to come here and support me. It just like blows my mind that I even had the opportunity to meet them, and then I did meet them and it worked out, and they, you know, liked me in some sort of way that they were like, yes, we want her as an intern. And now to this day, they're still great mentors in my life. I also want to reflect a little bit on Sarah's All Business, the episode from last week, before we say goodbye for today. So Sarah was really talking about a lot of different amazing things that was so great to hear from her perspective. But some of the main things that she was talking about was networking, persistence, and respect. And I feel like those three things really go a long way when you're trying to intern in such a competitive field. Sarah was talking about networking and how networking is how her and Jonathan became successful. The first store that picked them up, I believe she said, was because they knew somebody, and it was because of like how they networked in the past that happened for them. Coming from like a smaller town, so to speak, in Pennsylvania, and then transitioning very abruptly to New York City, I quickly had to adjust and network. And I didn't even realize I was doing it until I was already doing it and in it. I mean, especially in New York City, everybody in your class is doing something outside of school. So just talking to people, helping others with projects. I mean, especially at fashion school and art school, I mean, so many people are models or photographers or stylists or, you know, what have you. And just like asking to help out, you not only made a friend, but you can potentially meet other people that they're surrounding themselves with that is also working in the industry. And, you know, the people that we're in classes with is going to be the people that we are going to have to communicate with once we're in the industry. I mean, that's just how it goes. I've seen that firsthand with Sarah and Jonathan, that they communicate with people that they went to school with. And they have connections because they knew them through school, and it's helped them in the long run. And even the office that they're sharing the office with their friend from Parsons. Not everybody is going to appreciate what you have to offer, but there is going to be somebody who does. Just introduce yourself. Like, end of the day, it's only going to help you. And if you just introduce yourself, say, hi, I'm Sophia, you know, but your actual name. I want to be a fashion designer, and I would love to meet you, maybe even grab a cup of coffee with you. And that goes a long way. And people love to talk about themselves, as you can see right here as I'm talking about my own experiences. I mean, they could say no, but if they say yes, I mean, you just opened a new door of possibilities. She talked about persistence. Being persistent is like a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing, especially if you don't know the person. You don't know how they react to kind of that level of persistence. She talked about how like, okay, like social media, you can see everybody's lives going on as they're happening. You can follow and see every day what your idols and people that you want to work for are doing if you just, you know, look them up. She brought up a good point about like, usually they'll be posting what they're doing, and if you see that they're away on vacation, don't keep following up with them. Don't reach out to them. Wait till, you know, you see that they're back in the office. And that's a really good point, to use the resources around you, like social media, to help you succeed. Are they busy? Like currently, look at the environment in the industry that you're trying to get into. it's award season. Maybe don't reach out to somebody like 20 times because they haven't responded to you. You know, take a beat, reach out. They don't respond, wait till after the holidays. You know what I mean? It's kind of like doing your own research on that person and the industry and just like what is happening in the world to set you up for success, so you're not overbearing when you're reaching out. You have just enough persistence that it shows them that you're eager and you want it and you're not going to stop until you get it, but you're able to be respectful of where they are at and their boundaries. She talked about respect a lot, and I'll kind of be quick and end on this one because I feel like it's very self-explanatory. Having respect for your superiors and your equals goes such a long way, and it's kind of expected. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be respectful? Starting off with respecting your superiors, it's like, why? I don't know. That just like makes no sense to me why you wouldn't want to be respectful to the people that are your boss and they're going to be your ins into the industry that you want to be in. It makes no sense that you wouldn't be respectful, but you know, if you're having a hard time coming to terms with, you know, the idea of respect, you might not agree with everything on their creative side or the way that they run things or the way that they are with interns. And you know what? I've had experiences that weren't really great when it came to the experience with interns. And, you know, I learned from that and I took that in and I was like, okay, if I, or when I, let's be positive here, when I get to that position, when I get to that top position and I'm a superior of a bunch of people, I know that this is how I felt when they treated me like this, so I'm not going to do that when I get to that spot. And then channel that, but still put out respect towards those people. Because in a way, even though they might not be equally respectful back to me, they're still teaching me something. And that's like a really positive way to look at it and a positive spin on things that will help you get through it. And then you can still be able to say you did it, still have the connection to that person because you were still respectful to them no matter what. And then, but then you can take everything you learned, and if you didn't like it, use that to your advantage for how you will do things in the future or even starting now. And then flipping the switch to respecting your equals, all that work you're doing between you and the superior, you and the industry, the second you're disrespectful to an equal that you're working with or even an equal that you're not working with, the second somebody sees that, all that hard work goes down the drain. And like I've witnessed things on more of an outside perspective where I'm not in the positions that the, you know, energy is happening, and it's changed my opinion on people. And I just think that that's just something to keep in mind. I know Sarah didn't really talk so in depth about it, but I think that's just really important. I hope you guys were able to watch Sarah's All Business last week. It was a really great episode, and if you haven't, make sure to go back and listen. I think it's really valuable, and she just has so much experience that it was so insightful to really sit down and talk to her about her life, her experiences. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I hope you guys found something that you can take a hold of and try to implement into your life, as so will I. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you.